Have you ever wondered how hard you're actually pushing yourself? Have you ever wondered what you're capable of? Have you ever thought that you're giving everything 100% and then looked at other people who have success at a higher level than you and wondered, what do they do differently that I don't do? We're going to dig into what it looks like to give 100% and what it looks like to push yourself. My name is Amber Fuhriman, and welcome to the More Than Corporate podcast.
Welcome to the More Than Corporate podcast. I'm Amber Fuhriman, recovering perfectionist and serial accomplisher. If you're anything like I used to be, you've been living your life thinking that if you accomplish enough stuff, you'll finally find the success you've always wanted. But what if it's not about accomplishing more stuff? What if it's about accomplishing the right stuff? I believe you don't find success, you create it by intentionally designing the life you want and having the courage to get out of your comfort zone to live your design. I went from doing what I was supposed to do to doing what I love to do, and now I get to help others do the same. Keep listening as I chat with inspiring people who make it their mission to live their best life every day and learn how you too can live the life you've always wanted.
Before we jump into this, I want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by Success Development Solutions and the Break Your Bullshit Box Group Coaching Program. If you are ready to finally break that bullshit box, if you're ready to quit buying into the excuses that you make for yourself, if you are ready to finally have the level of success that you desire and deserve, then let's sit down and have a conversation about how we can make that happen for you. Reality is we are the easiest person to lie to. The easiest person to lie to is ourselves. So when you bring somebody else into the equation, you get to have that outside perspective to allow you to know when you are bullshitting yourself and when you're not, and how we can break all of those bullshit excuses out of that bullshit box so that you can finally have the success that you want. If this sounds like something you're interested in, head over to successdevelopmentsolutions.com and schedule a call to speak with me. With that being said, let's jump into today's conversation. So you may notice that if you're watching this on the video, I'm not in my normal recording spot. I'm not in my studio. I'm in California, and I'm here for the biggest level of training that we do as part of NLP. It's trainers training, and it is what the students who are going through this year have worked so hard for, to be able to call themselves trainers. And the reality is that most people who go through this program will never end up training NLP. However, the skills and lessons and things that they learn about themselves throughout the process are incredibly important into raising their level of success in their careers, in their families, in their financial success. And there's a theme this week that we're going to show you what 100% looks like. Now, there's also something else that's going on this same weekend. You guys have heard me talk about my obstacle course racing journeys. If you're new to the podcast, when I first started down this road of healing, without knowing that I had found that thing that was going to be the conduit for me from where I was to where I wanted to go, I found obstacle course racing. And it really was accidental. I was at my rock bottom and somebody invited me to a workout in the park, and I went, and that workout in the park spiraled into training for obstacle course races and running Tough Mudders, and then eventually running a 24-hour obstacle course race called World's Toughest Mudder in 2017. Well, that race is this weekend. In fact, as I'm recording this, there are runners that are running World's Toughest Mudder in the Gulf Coast right now. And my heart is with them in spirit, because that was the first experience that I ever had with really pushing myself. Now, let me be clear. I graduated from law school. I made it through all the loss in my family. And people may say, Amber, those are great accomplishments. And I'm not disagreeing with you. There's just a difference between doing something that you feel like you have to do in order to survive and doing something that allows you to push yourself to that next level of success. So many of us live in survival mode. So many of us know only survival mode. And we think we push ourselves. And this looks a lot like the victim mentality that you hear, or not the victim mentality, I'm sorry, the survivor mentality that you hear, the no matter what people say about me, I'm always going to succeed mentality. And here's the problem with that. In order for you to be the underdog, there has to be somebody that's fighting against you. There has to be somebody that's telling you that you're not good enough. There has to be somebody that's telling you that you're not going to be able to make it. And I feel like we all know what that feels like. We all know what it sounds like to have somebody not believe in us. But what happens when you get to that level of success where you're surrounded by people who truly do believe in you? If you have lived your entire life in survival mode and underdog mode, who's challenging you now? Because the people you've surrounded yourself with are all growth mindset people who believe that if you put your mind to something, you can do it. Well, if you've built your success from a place of being the underdog, it requires either you or somebody else to have that mentality that somebody doesn't think you can do it. And how beneficial is that really? So when I talk about World's Toughest Mudder being the conduit for me, I learned so much about what it was like to push myself. I learned so much about what it felt like to not want to take another step and get back out on the course, to being exhausted and wanting to sleep and running through the night and knowing that all it was one decision away. I could quit at any time. I'd have to live with those consequences. I would have to live with knowing that I gave up on myself, and I wasn't willing to do that. And I had surrounded myself with people who also were not willing to allow me to give up on myself. I finished World's Toughest Mudder in 2017. I ran 25 official miles, probably about 30 to 35 miles with penalties. Each 5-mile loop had 20 obstacles on it. And I ran for 24 hours, basically without stopping. That taught me what it looks like to truly push myself. So as I sit here this weekend, and as I am surrounded by people physically in my presence who are pushing themselves mentally and emotionally and professionally to do more and be more than they have ever been before, and then I know that this family and group of people that I have come to love so much in the Tough Mudder community are pushing themselves physically and mentally and emotionally to a place that they've never been before, trying to run more miles than they ever have before, racing against themselves and who they were last year. As I know that that's going on in the Gulf Coast, I am just flooded with questions about where we all push ourselves and where we all give up on ourselves. And that's my question for you today. My question for you today is, are you truly giving 100% in your life? Are you truly giving your family, your career, your business, your financial success, your health? Are you really giving that 100%? My health journey is something that I have struggled with. And I've struggled with it because I haven't been willing to face the bullshit excuses that I've been giving myself about how I'm too busy and I travel too much and I run 3 businesses. It's just not feasible. However, look at all the people who run much more successful businesses than I do and are extremely healthy. It's all a bullshit excuse. And I know that and I acknowledge that. And at some point in time, I'll be willing to own it. That's my question for you. The difference is this victim or of your circumstance mentality that causes you or allows you to believe that circumstances are outside of your control, versus acknowledging these circumstances are within my control and I'm not ready to make a change yet. And that's fine. You get to own the consequences that come along with that. And then there's the cause side of the equation, where you are 100% at cause for everything, and that you are willing to get rid of the bullshit excuses and you're willing to do the work. When was the last time you truly felt like that? When was the last time you truly felt like you knew that the circumstances that you were currently in were 100% as a result of the actions that you had given and the effort you had given up to that point. And that in order to change your circumstances, all you had to do is give more effort, take different actions, and own responsibility for the choices that you've made. Like, we all see it. We all see it in other people. Now you get to see it in yourself. And the beauty of that is that when you see it in yourself, then you get to accept it and change it. When you see it, you can learn from it. When you learn from it, you can change it. I mean, who knows that person who has always said that they struggle with money? They never have anything saved. They are always the person that's saying they don't have enough money to get the information that they need. They don't have enough money to make the career changes that they want to make. And then you watch them post their travel pictures everywhere, and you watch them post their concert pictures everywhere. And that's their choice. I'm not, zero judgment on that. It's the choice that they're making. So the purpose of this podcast is to really bring to your awareness, where are you bullshitting yourself? Where are you buying into your own excuses? And where are you truly giving 100%? Do you even know what that feels like? Do you even know what it feels like to push yourself farther than you've ever pushed yourself before? Or do you only know what it feels like to survive? There's something amazing about surviving, right? We've all been there before. We've all been there when we felt like the most we could do in that day was to just make it through the day. But when we own that identity as the survivor, when we own that identity as the underdog, when we own that identity as the person who has always overcome all obstacles, then in order for us to keep that identity, we have to keep creating our own obstacles so that we can keep overcoming them. Because without them, who are we? Who are we if it's just success, right? Because we need obstacles. We need to make it hard. I've been that person. I know 100%. I used to self-sabotage my success all the time, because if it wasn't hard, it wasn't worth doing. So I would make it fucking hard. Where are you doing that to yourself? And then the other question is, where are you taking full responsibility for what's going on in your life, and where aren't you? Where are you still blaming your circumstances on external forces? Where are you still making excuses, right? There's reasons for everything. For everywhere that we're at in our life, there's reasons. But you can't have reasons and results at the same time. You either own the circumstances that you're in and start making a plan for how you're going to change that, or you focus on what got you there. You can't do both at the same time. It's impossible. So ask yourself, in the Tough Mudder world, and in honor of the people who are running World's Toughest Mudder right now, ask yourself, when was the last time you did something for the first time? When was the last time you did something new? When was the last time you pushed yourself out of your comfort zone? When was the last time that you allowed yourself to fail? And I use that word very intentionally, because there is no failure, only feedback. However, if you are successfully completing everything you try, you're not pushing yourself hard enough. So when was the last time that you risked unsuccessfully completing something for the purposes of learning and getting better? And in honor of the people that I am physically with, helping them through their journey from where they are to where they want to be, the person that they want to become, what it looks like to give 100% in a business setting. Choice is a powerful thing, and suffering is always optional. If you don't like the circumstances that you're in, change them. If you're not ready to change them, own that the reason that you're in those circumstances is because you're not ready to change. And there's zero judgment. However, it can't be everybody else's and everything else's fault. So where are you bullshitting yourself? Where are you buying your own excuses? When was the last time you did something for the first time? I would love to hear what you're going to do that's new and different, and what you're going to try, and how you're going to take the mentality that has gotten you to where you are now, and start to shift that to a mentality of understanding that we have complete control over how we respond to our environment. And choice is a powerful thing, and suffering is always optional. Always remember that you have the ability to design the life that you have always wanted, and you owe it to yourself to have the courage to live it. And a big part of having that courage is being willing to break your bullshit box. My name is Amber Fuhriman. This was the More Than Corporate podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the More Than Corporate podcast. If anything that was said during this episode resonated with you or provided value in any way, it would mean the world to me if you would head over to iTunes and leave a rating and review for the More Than Corporate podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to do that. I'm really looking forward to connecting with you. If you'd also like to connect, I've created a Facebook group that is full of amazing people who also make it their mission to live their best life every single day. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, the name of that Facebook group is Success Center. Head over there, request to join, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.